What's up, guys? On this episode of the Ill-Advised Podcast, we have a very special guest here. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy that taught us how to make a knife.
Our very own knife.
Erick Rivers.
Erick Rivers.
This is Ill-Advised. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Ill-Advised Podcast, the show where we say what everybody else is thinking. I am one of your hosts, Jared, and with me, as always, we have Gabe and Chris.
Hello.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest with us today. His name is Erick Rivers, and he actually taught us how to make a blade.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Eric?
Badass
What's going on?
What's up?
So, Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a person that likes to create things. I do a little bit of everything. I have about a billion hobbies, and I'm not exactly an expert on anything, but I'm really good at a lot of random
There
shit.
you go. That's how you say it.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none.
Pretty damn good at a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. That's kind of my. So I always tell people my hobby is to do everybody else's hobby and try and get really good at it. So if I see people having fun doing something, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah.
And then I'm typically kind of okay at it, and then it's like, let's see how good I can get.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
typically what I do.
So is that what the Rivers experience is? What exactly is the Rivers experience?
All right, so when it comes to the Rivers experience, a lot of it is, I do a lot of knife making and things like that, but I've done other stuff in the past, and the whole point behind the channel was me just showing people my experience and different things that I do, and trying to teach people how to do things with their hands that people don't do anymore. Because nowadays everybody wants to buy things, they want instant gratification.
Oh, yeah, it's a throwaway world.
Yes, it is.
It's
And
kind of like me. I'm not going to lie. I'm all about trying to buy it made and complete.
and
I'm
just
not
call it
gonna lie.
good.
Oh, it broke. Let's throw it away.
Yeah, and I'm the person that's like, oh, it broke. I wonder how I can make it better so it doesn't
Right.
break.
Gotcha.
And I want to teach people how to do certain things. And it's not so much that I'm trying to just teach everybody how to do stuff. I really want them to see my experience in me learning how to do things.
I think that's what's nice, though, because it's humbling because you come off as, like, I'm learning with you. It could be some trial and error.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, you're very supportive. You're like the most supportive dude I've ever met. Like, I would have been like, just get the fuck out of the way so many times.
Yeah.
I just
And
done
what-
it myself.
And if you don't know, because there's a lot of behind the scenes when we made the episode that you'll probably already saw on our vlog, is we made a lot of mistakes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And Eric had this like innate ability to like, nah, man. I mean, like genuinely, like, nah, man. That's freaking.
He's like,
you knocked it out of the park, dude. You know how bad you didn't suck? Because you know how bad you didn't really do.
you could have done so much worse there, sport.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, most of the people that go on my Facebook page, and whenever I first made it, it was not supposed to be what it is now, but they'll go on my Facebook page and they'll say, man, I messed this up. What do you suggest doing differently? And I'll tell them, probably nothing. A lot of the times you learn from your mistakes, and most people learn more from their mistakes than their successes.
Right.
Because whenever you're great at something, you just assume you're great at it. You don't want to get better at it.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're naturally great. And if you are the person who fails over and over and over again, You are learning every single time. Hopefully, you're learning every single time.
See, that's some entertaining Full House shit right there, man.
Exactly.
That is just like, I think, like, could we have, I mean, the only thing we were missing was, like, that really good music.
If Bob Ross made knives, he would be Erick Rivers. It's like, oh, it's just a little happy mistake.
It's just a little happy
okay.
mistake.
I just painted it right there.
Yep. We're turning that into a tree.
And then we're going to chop that motherfucker down.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what exactly, specifically knives, what is it exactly that got you into knives and making them?
Yeah, so I've been interested in knives for a long time. I've been a knife collector since I was very young. My stepdad, he did everything himself. If anybody had a question in the neighborhood, they went to him, whether it was about cars, whether it was about knives, whether it was about guns, whether it was about anything that involved being a man, they talked to him.
Right.
And so I've always saw him do that stuff, and I decided that's one of the reasons why I like to try to be an expert at a lot of things. It's just, when it comes to knives, I like to create things that I can hold and I can do things with. You know, I like doing furniture and making stuff like that, but typically whenever you get done making those things, they just sit there.
Right.
And they don't really do anything.
Yeah.
Whenever you make a knife, same thing whenever I make guns, the gratification of being able to slice something or shoot something is so much fun.
Or in Gabe's experience, shoo away a fly.
Yes,
with
Yes,
his hand.
try to murder
Which
him.
was very scary.
the sharpest
With a very
object
sharp
in
knife.
America.
And he was shooing it away from his kneecap.
Yeah. Yep. But it's just a really cool thing to be able to make, and not a lot of people will go through the effort of learning how to do this. It used to be a very seldom thing until Forged in Fire came out, and then it was like
That's what
everybody
popped it
wants
off.
to become a knife maker, and it's interesting. But I just really like it, and a lot of the people who watch the videos really, really, really like seeing me create the knives. So I do some of it for them as well.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Right on. So, like, what was your experience like making like your first knife? Like, do you still have it? Like,
Yes.
Are you proud of it?
Yes.
Because that was like your first one, right?
Yep. So I've got 3 knives. There's 2 that were the first ones that I ever took a existing knife that had a handle that was falling off of it, and I reshaped it into a different style of knife, and then put a handle on it. That was my first time ever making handle scales to put on knives and do that.
Was
And
it
I
pretty
made-
hard?
Huh?
Pretty hard?
It was no.
No?
So the material that I used was skateboard material. So at that time, I had been making skateboards and doing things like that on the channel. And I had all this extra skateboard material. So my first knife handles were made out of skateboards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I was like, man, I've got to try and make a knife. I didn't have a forge, didn't have any of that stuff. So I did a little bit of research, found out that you could take files and you could easily turn them into a knife if you just have a small little belt sander or angle grinder, a few things like that, because you don't need to heat treat them. You just put them in an oven and temper them to make them softer.
And you don't have to heat treat them because they're in
They're
theory
already-
already done.
Yep, they're already hardened. You do have to temper them because you have to make them a little bit softer so you don't drop it on the ground and it shatters. A file, if you just drop it on concrete, there's a good chance it'll crack in half.
Why is that?
It's so hard because it needs to be able to cut steel,
Oh.
so it makes it a little bit brittle.
Okay.
So I took that, turned it into a knife, and it was like a really good looking knife, and I thought, all right, cool, I can do this. But I'd been watching one of my friends named Jeff Peters. He actually won one of the episodes of Forged in Fire, and he'd been making knives in his little one-car garage, and he was doing them in there when he won Forged in Fire. So I thought, man, if he can do that, I'm pretty sure I can do this. And I ended up messaging him, and he was like, yeah, try it. So I did, and it was successful. And then I just went, all right, cool, I'm gonna make a few more of these. And I
And
did.
this is where Shogun comes out on the boat and it's like, it has begun. Shing Tsung. Shing Tsung. Yeah, Shing Tsung, yeah.
Well, cool.
Chunks.
Well, how is your YouTube fans, your community? How has that influenced the river experience to what it is today?
It's influenced it a lot because I was doing so many other things whenever I was making videos, and I had my first video go viral, and of course it was a knife making video, and I decided, okay, I guess this is what they really like. So they have actually tailored what I do on the channel a whole lot. Plus the people that I have on my Facebook group and everything like that, they suggest all kinds of different things. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Sometimes I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, we're not there yet. We're not gonna make that stuff now. Not yet.
Right on.
You're not gonna make the flame throwing dragon knife?
Not yet. Not yet.
What's that knife from The Golden Child?
I said, I want the knife.
That big decorative, anyway.
The Golden Child. Okay, how many viewers have actually watched The Golden Child?
How many have you not? Oh my god. Anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the knife. Okay, I got it.
But yeah, I'm not. A lot of it has been tailored from viewers. Yes.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, okay, so just to kind of dovetail from that last question, how long has Rivers experience? This is a two-part question. How long has it been? Like, I don't know, real quickly, a year, 2 years?
It's been about a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay, year and a half. 5 years from now,
Yeah.
is the Rivers experience still going to be around? If so, what is it going to be? How is it going to change, and where are you taking it?
It is definitely going to be around. My goal long term is to pretty much do YouTube as a career. I've had people ask me if I'm going to become a professional knife maker or something like that, or a full-time knife maker. Now, my goal is actually to be a full-time content creator. Over the next year or so, I'm going to expand my shop, make it larger so that it's better for filming, and so that I can do things like have people come in and do collabs with people from all over the United States, and maybe teach them how to do a knife, or them come in and teach me how to do something in my shop. So that is the goal. The goal is to expand the shop and make it larger, and then eventually purchase a place, like an actual shop space, and just create everything. My goal is not just to create knives. Right now, that's what everybody likes to watch. But the end goal is, somebody suggests, hey, you should make a shield out of a car door, and then you should shoot things out of it. Or something like that.
So it's less to do. So you really are transitioning from a niche, because right now the Rivers experience, in all accounts, looks like a knife.
Yes.
A knife page.
Yes.
So you're really going to be more transformative over time. You're actually going to be, you name it, I'll try it.
I'm going to try and create pretty much all kinds of things.
That's awesome.
Right now, my shop space works to create knives and do things like that. And it is an awesome thing to just grow as a creator. But eventually, I plan on there's going to be other things that I've always wanted to do. Like, I see things all the time that are made, and they could be made so much better, but people don't make them the correct way because they're trying to produce large quantities of them. So the small things that if you just put it in someone's hand and they actually said, okay, fill this.
Yeah.
I don't feel like people focus group things enough, but for me, I like to take things and make them better. Right. And
That's
so
awesome.
I'm going to do some of that stuff. I'm just going to take things that people suggest that might not work the best and just have them suggest for me to go ahead and redesign it. Stuff like that.
So you're not a knife maker that does YouTube. You're a YouTuber
That makes knives.
that makes
makes
knives.
knives.
Yep.
Okay.
So our last question, and you kind of altered the way I'm going to ask this just because of the last answer that you just gave me.
Yep.
If you were going to give somebody advice, originally I was going to say, if you were going to give a novice knife maker some advice, what would, and they had limited budget, kind of like where you were to begin with, and your trial and error, what could you say to them or tell them or advise them to ease that transition? But maybe not just knives, anything for that matter.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
So the way that I look at things is you just need enough tools to be able to create what you want to create, but also to be able to create the tools that you want to eventually use. So whenever I first started, I was using a little 1x30 sander that I got from Harbor Freight, and then I transitioned into making my own 2x48 belt grinder with an angle grinder, some steel tube from Lowe's. I welded the whole frame, did all that stuff, and I used that for about 6 months, and then I bought the actual professional thing. But I always suggest just getting enough tools to be able to eventually make the bigger things that you want to use, and I always suggest getting the experience making the things so that if you buy the expensive thing, you know how to modify it, you know how to create things for it, you know how it works in and out, because you've already worked on the ghetto version.
That's so true, and I think that's, you get an appreciation for it. You get an appreciation for the craft, and by developing that on a very rudimentary level, it's like you really are going to be able to assess. Yeah, this is something that I'm starting to kick some ass in. Yeah, I'm deserving of some really good equipment. And I think that's where a lot of people
you want to do that first, because you have the people that spend because some people don't have limited budgets. Some people will go, I'm gonna go spend $5,000 and make a whole knife shop, and then what they're gonna do is they're gonna make their first 3 knives and go, no, I really don't want to do this. This is way too dusty, or this is, I don't like this particular part of it. I burnt myself 7 times, and then they just have $5,000 worth of equipment that they'll never use. It just goes on a loft and collects dust.
Yeah, right.
And that is the worst.
Oh, I've been that guy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're willing to put the time into making the things and to trying the things out before you go and you spend all the money. And I lucked out because I did woodwork and I did stuff like that. So I had a lot of the tools that could be converted to help making knives right off the bat.
Right.
But I didn't have things like a forge, so I made my first forge. Hell, because I made that first one, I was able to make the bigger one. And I went from using a torch to a full-blown forge that y'all got to use.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a good segue, because we wanted to ask those questions, because I think it's important for people who, if you not throw a plug in, but if you haven't already gone to Erick's channel, you need to go check it out. The Rivers Experience. It's on YouTube. It's phenomenal. Wow. It's everything that he said it was, and some of the questions we asked. I mean, it really is a real wealth of knowledge when you look at it from a DIY perspective. You need to go check it out. The Rivers Experience. We're gonna have his links in the info page, or in the info.
I've got one more question.
Okay.
Go for it. Go ahead.
And I think it's the question everybody's been wondering since day one of this project. Who's the better knife maker?
And you're not gonna hurt anybody's feelings if you don't. If you're not gonna hurt the feelings if you say it's me.
So, depending on the different aspects of it,
there's the dad.
Jared. That's what he
said. When it came to the forging part, Jared.
Yeah.
So the swinging the hammer, doing that stuff.
Of course.
It was you.
Because I'm most man.
Doing the part that we did on the oscillating spindle sander.
Me.
So the one that went up and down. That one. Actually, Gabe.
Wow.
And then when it came to all of the grinding on the belt grinder, it was Chris. Like, being able to do some of the stuff that you were doing, it's not very easy to have the hand control for that at all.
Did you hear that?
So it was.
Did you fuckers hear that? Did y'all hear that?
Someone paid you a compliment. Let the rest of the world know.
But you know what? It's still the award for the best dad goes to this guy right here. He still found a way to compliment us all. Okay, so thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Well, okay, so for those that have not seen our vlog video that we have, it's on our YouTube channel. Even if you did, you got to see us collab with the Rivers Experience. So real quick, before we do the release, I know that's what everybody's waiting to see, is what the knife looks like. So real quick, for those that don't know, we've known Eric for a long time. I've known Eric since elementary school. Yep. Jared and Gabe known him for about a better half of 10 plus years. So we've all known each other pretty well. So we knew he was doing this. We had the podcast. We said this would be a great opportunity to do that collab. And for those that went to our YouTube channel and looked at the vlog, you were able to see 2 of what was the 3-day project. And of course, we just got our awards on who all did what best. I still think mine probably was instrumental. It wouldn't have been what it was without me. But
Wouldn't have a knife without me.
this is true. This is
Or
true.
Eric.
This is true. No, that's true. So, Eric has been gracious enough to wait for the reveal for our recording of our episode. So we are excited to say that this knife was a combination of a lot of blood, sweat, and some tears, and a lot of sweat.
A lot of sweat.
And
A lot of sweat.
And that-
Let me emphasize the amount of fucking sweat that was poured into this thing in the middle of Texas summer.
and none of it came from Eric for some weird
Not a
freaking
drop.
reason.
Not a single drop.
I mean, I look like I just got out of baptism, and then Eric's over here, could blow dust off his arm,
It's like, oh, y'all were going to shower before you go to bed? Oh, wow, that's weird.
I will hand it to Eric. Eric, is there who do we need to thank for this knife? Who helped out in terms of making it look like what it's about to?
So there was the person that actually did the scales, is casting scales. Emily, she's the one that ends up doing she does all the handle material for handles like this, where she does all castings and she does all kinds of different stuff. But she was the one that custom made the scales for us. And then when it came to the steel, that was just part of something that I got from a local person that just collects steel. That collects cars, all kinds of things. His name's Dwayne, and he got those leaf springs. Those were from a old Willie's Jeep, and that's what we used.
Nice.
Well, Gabe,
thank you, Emily.
thank you, Emily.
We'll
Thank you.
post her link in the
Yes.
the description.
Absolutely. Well, Gabe,
I think it's time to
do it, man. this
bad
is the
boy.
official one and only, right? One and only
Yep, I will not be making another one.
official ill-advised knife. Is it good? Oh Jesus!
Holy shit.
Just so y'all know, that almost went to his crotch.
Why did we know you were gonna fuck up that intro? Look at that! Look
Show
at
the
that!
camera there, bud.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, let's see if we can get a zoom in from our other camera angle there. See if we can get a look at that. Look at that. Okay,
Amazing.
so let's put it on the table.
You want to touch it? You want to touch it?
Yes, I'm terrified that you're touching it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you did.
So we're just gonna set it right there.
All right, so tell us really quickly what. Well, Jared, you got the credit for the design because you kind of picked and choose from the plethora of designs that he had there.
Yeah, and it just kind of came to
And
me.
Eric,
in a
let's go
dream.
ahead. Oh,
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk?
No,
It just kind of came to me in a dream. It was more of a premonition, I feel like. And Eric was just like, hey, Jared, why don't you design a knife? And it was like my hand just took on a life of its own and just started drawing out
I'm about to vomit.
the world's craziest looking knife, which actually looks a lot like the knife on your shirt, I'm starting to notice.
Oh yeah, it does.
So no, it's pretty cool. I just took like a couple templates that he had in his shop and I just kind of put them together, and he then actually drew the knife, and that was it.
So what style knife is this officially?
So a lot of people will call it a clip point. Some people call it a bowie. It's traditional kind of bowie style knife, but the term for it is just called a clip point. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. Whenever you first drew it, I was like, "Fuck." I was like, they couldn't just make a real simple, like straight handle, like just a real simple, like what we'd call a drop point, like camp knife or something like that. We had to go with the whole fucking clip point and a contoured handle and all that shit. And I was going, Great. But we're going to do it.
But you forgot Chris was gonna be on the dough grinder, so he was
Right.
like, "Shit, we're okay."
Finally, some honesty from this guy. Finally.
You know, that is. I did think, I was like, man, you know, when you did started drawing that, I wonder what he was thinking. At least we know now.
Yep, I was like, great.
So
3 days. We're only got 3 hours a day. We got to make that. And we made it happen.
Hell
We
yeah.
made it happen.
It's like, don't pick that template. Don't pick that template.
Shit.
he's like, and I hid it underneath the coffee mug. It's on the
I don't
toolbox
even know
back in
how
the
he
back
found
corner.
it.
So let's talk about the scales real quick.
So those are resin scales that are in an aluminum. They just call it like a honeycomb, and it's made out of aluminum. But they just pour them into a mold. They put the aluminum honeycomb in there, pour it into a mold, and they just pick how they want the resin to go. And I wanted these specific ones, and at first I didn't know if it was going to happen because they didn't come in till the last day.
Yeah.
And I was wanting them to come in the day they were supposed to be there, which was the second day, so we could mount them, do all of that. But that is not how it worked out. So I had to do a little bit of behind the scenes stuff and mount the scales. But the cool thing is there isn't a huge skill involved with mounting them onto a knife. The biggest thing is just making sure you drill the holes right so the pins fit in. But really, it's what I keep calling the watching paint dry part, because all you do is just put it into a thing, we clamp them up, and we let them dry for X amount of hours. You know, it's not really doing anything super major, so I went ahead and did that, and then I let y'all do all of the shaping.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. I'm sure maybe we can get Jared to kind of cut in a couple little clips of us doing some stuff to it. But
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was awesome.
It was a lot of
I
fun.
enjoyed every freaking
It
bit
was
of
a
that.
great time. It was a
I'm
great time. It was very, very rewarding, very fulfilling getting to hold that in your hands after 3 days of sweating.
Yeah.
Sweating.
So my question for y'all,
Oh yes,
did y'all think that is what you were going to end up with?
No,
absolutely
hell no.
not. Absolutely
Hell
not.
no.
I did not realize, and I think me and Gabe and Jared all three thought the same thing. When you were using the term scales, we were all thinking like weight, scales and weight. I didn't realize you're talking about like scales that of a snake.
Yeah, that attached to
Like
it.
yeah, like I didn't realize that's what it was.
No, man.
Those really snake scales?
No, but it kind of looks like it. But it's like the ill-advised color and theme, and
It's perfect.
it's awesome. I'm excited. So before we wrap up, you guys have to
Absolutely have to.
go like the Rivers Experience. Go subscribe to that channel. If you haven't already subscribed to ours, I'm really going to be upset with you. You got to go and subscribe to our channel.
Ridiculous.
And as we close out, I just once again want to thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a lot
Appreciate
of
it.
fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're
It
going to
was a
fight
pleasure.
habitually over who's going to be able to take care of the knife. But
In all seriousness, though, thank you for the experience. Thank
Yes.
you for the emotional support you provided.
yes, for giving us all a participation award.
Trying
Yeah.
to keep us from killing each other.
Yes.
It was much appreciated.
Here's another side note, guys. It's worth it for you to like and subscribe the Ill Advised YouTube page, because next week, well, we'll try to fit it in. We're going to actually, on our vlog, are going to give you a little taste of us swinging this bad boy and putting it to test. But if you want to really see, if you really want to see what damage this thing can do in the hands of Gabe, you need to become a Patreon member, because our Patreon people are going to see the extended uncut, hopefully not being cut on somebody's legs, videos.
Uncut. Let's keep it uncut.
Yeah, let's keep it. Yeah.
And
So,
Eric tells us that these things can chop 2x4s in half.
with a couple, and the swings probably.
Yeah, there's a few swings, but
Okay.
it'll do it.
Well, I was somewhat vague, so
Just
The
literally.
power of the knife, boom!
Yeah.
Looks like somebody just made cedar chips. Awesome. So like and subscribe both of these pages. All the links are going to be in the oh god, links are going to be in the bio or down there in the bottom. We thank you very much. Don't forget, you're going to see this bad boy put to test. You know what? We thank you. We appreciate it, guys.
That's it for us, guys.
That's it. All right,
Eric, thanks again.
Thank you, bud.
Absolutely.
We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
That's it. Bye.